Okay, today I'm going to show you a baked Alaska. We are going to torch it. We are going to light it on fire. We're going to run flames down the side. So a fancy dessert that you can show your friends, along with learning how to make meringue, which is step by step. First thing you're going to do for the ingredients actually for a baked Alaska are a cake. And I went ahead and made it into a 9x13 pan like this. Must have it, well, I guess you don't have to, because even if it tends to fall apart or mess up or whatever, that would be a perfect time to make baked Alaska, because if you have a cake that's messed up, it's going to be crumbled up anyway, and you'll see in a minute, and I'll explain that to you. So anyway, I did put paper down on all four sides to make it easy removal for me, because I didn't want to mess with it. Now, this is probably the key, most important point, because if you do not do this, your baked Alaska is not going to come out of the bowl, okay? So very crucial that you do this step. You take 2 pieces of foil, okay? And it doesn't matter what side you have out, it doesn't matter at all. And whatever bowl you're gonna use. Now I would say, like, this bowl's kind of big, so I might, it might not come all the way to the top here, but I used to have perfect size bowls, but now we have all these metal ones, and so they're not perfect. But you must make sure that every spot's covered. Otherwise your cake will get caught and will not pop out. This is going to be the top of the cake, and this is going to be the bottom of the cake, okay? At this point, we're going to take our cake. I can move my little torch here. And we are going to go ahead and cut this in half, because I need enough to go on, layer the bowl. So our first step is to layer the bowl with, and this is the hard part, is to stay even on both sides, is to layer cake on the bottom and the top. So I take this and I start taking pieces of my cake, and I'm basically lining the bowl with cake. Now this worked out pretty well. That one kind of stayed together really nicely for me. Sometimes it doesn't work that well. So I just kind of piece it in there, but you need to make sure you leave enough for the bottom. Now this bowl is kind of big, so I think next period I'm going to use a little bit smaller one, because I'm kind of running out of cake here. Because I know I got to leave enough for the bottom. Also, the ice cream, it used to be half gallons of ice cream, and as you know, instead of raising the price, a lot of times they will end up just giving you less ice cream. So now it's not a half gallon, so it's not going to fill quite as much. So I think I brought in a smaller bowl, and I think this one would probably work better. This size bowl, it's a little skinnier, so it would make a little bit less thickness. Okay, so I line my bowl. Have that completely lined with cake. Press it in. Now this needs to be done 24 hours in advance. Okay, so like I have one ready for you guys to be able to use. Then you're going to take a half gallon of whatever ice cream you want. Okay, so I'm going to take, this is chocolate chip cookie dough. And what I would suggest, like I've made these before with a white cake, but the problem is that the ice cream drips into the cake, and then you have like drip marks, which isn't very appetizing, doesn't look that great. So I always do a dark cake, so I always do usually a chocolate cake, and then you can do like the mint chocolate chip, looks really pretty, but there's a lot of kids that don't like mint chocolate chips, so I don't do that. But when you cut into it, because what you're going to see is a layer of cake, a layer of ice cream, and the meringue on top. So you have the white, the chocolate, and the green, and the black flecks. It makes for a very pretty cake. Now this is very, very stiff, and I don't have very good muscles, so I'm going to put this in here for about 30 seconds. But I don't want it, that one is only going to be in the refrigerator for like a half an hour before my next class comes in, so it's not really going to get to solidify very well. So I want to make sure that I don't get it too soft, because the next period when I go to cut into it, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be too melty for me. Alright, I think I can handle this. Okay. Enough to get it loose from the edges. And then I'm going to take this big spoon here. Come on, baby. Get out of there. And I'm going to fill the whole thing, use the entire thing of half gallon or close to half gallon, whatever it is these days, And I'm going to put it in there. Now what I've done is gone ahead and cut some sheets. You can use your hands, of course, but it just makes for a little less mess. And then you press this down into the bowl. Nice and tight. Now, so you can see that I have like a little bit of excess here. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to kind of fold this over, because you only want it to the layer of... Now, if you were doing this in a restaurant, what would I need in my hands? Yeah, because it's a ready-to-eat food. Nothing's not going to be cooked or anything, even though the meringue is going to be torched. This, I would be using gloves, but since it's just for us, we're not charging. Okay, so I'm going to put... The cake is going to act as an insulator for the ice cream and keep the ice cream from helping keep the ice cream from melting. Okay, so you can see I have it all covered. Okay, all covered. So now I take my foil. This is why you also have like a little extra hanging off, because now it acts as your cover for your bowl. And go ahead and stick that in the freezer for me, please. And, oh, shoot, no. Not about it. All right, so now we are ready to make our meringue. And once we make our meringue, then we are ready to go ahead and frost it. Now, guys, I'm going to show you how to do one. Then I want you guys to go ahead and do the rest of the eggs. So we're going to learn to separate eggs. And this is where some of your questions are starting on your papers. Eggs separate best when they are cold. So can you guys get me eggs out of the refrigerator, please? Just bring me that whole flat of them. Okay. Eggs separate best when they're cold. Now, we're going to do what's called, and I want you guys to do the same method, is I want you guys to use the 3-bowl method. Now, you must have, like I'm just noticing there's some dirt, I don't know what this is, chocolate in here. It has to be a completely clean bowl. If there's any food, any residue, you cannot use plastic. Plastic retains oils within its surface, and you will sit there and beat these egg whites and you'll think you did something wrong and you really didn't. It's just because of the bowl that you're using. So go ahead, and I need this washed, rinsed, and dried for me. And then this one, I'm going to break the egg into this one. I'm going to put the, I'm going to transfer the yolk into here. I'm going to transfer the white into the 3rd bowl, and then I'm going to start again. Why would I go through this? Why don't I just do it all over the bowl? Anybody understand that? Yeah, because if I mess up, because if you get any yolk is fat. So if you get any bit of yolk in there, it's going to blow it. And let's say I'm on my 5th egg, and then I accidentally break it, and I get yolk in there, and then I've blown it. You know, I have to throw out all those 5 eggs. Okay? So we do this method so that you don't blow it. Okay? So we're going to go ahead, break your egg. Now there's a couple ways I'm going to show you that you can do this. Take it, break it like this. You want to be careful of any sharp edges. If you have sharp edges on your eggshell, it might cause a problem for you. Now see how the white kind of gloms together? That is a good thing, because that means that it's all going to come off, and just the yolk. So basically transferring the yolk back and forth, allowing the white to drain off is what we're doing. When I've got most of the white, I go ahead and I take my yolk, I put it into the 2nd bowl. You also want to save one good eggshell. So like this one is almost pretty good. So I will save that, and if I get a better one, then I'll throw that out. So I need that bowl because we're going to transfer this white into the 3rd bowl. Now I have kids who'll get this done, and they'll do the 3-bowl method, and then they have the white in here, and they go to break their 2nd egg. They keep forgetting to transfer the white to the 3rd bowl. So you got to remember to do this and transfer, otherwise you're doing the 3 steps for no reason whatsoever. Okay? So, and this is, I'm going to show you another way. Another way to separate an egg is to take it in the palm of your hand, like this, and this way you don't have any sharp edges, and you kind of just let the white go between your fingers, okay? And this is probably the safest way, I would say, to do it for you guys, and especially if it's cold. If it's warm, the yolk tends to break so much easier, okay? So guys, go ahead and finish doing the rest of the eggs. You can each do 2. I need 6 eggs. We're going to do it 6 eggs so they can each do 2. Now make sure you leave there you go. Just make sure you're not hitting the edges with the yolk. Very good. Okay, put the yolk there. Okay, and that looks actually really nice one there you got there. So I'm gonna throw these away. Throw these away. Go ahead and do another one. Wait, did we transfer it? You gotta transfer it. That's what I was telling you. Everybody forgets to do that. Okay, go ahead and pause. We don't need to see 6 eggs done.